Good evening and welcome to the show. I'm Arm&Gun, and today we have the APC223 by Brugger and Tom at B&T, and we're going to specifically tear this thing apart and look at it inside. So if you are looking to disassemble your gun and you had some questions about the process, or you're just curious about the internals of the rifle, you are 100% in the right place. And again, we're doing the 223 today, not the USW, which you see here as well. I did a feature firearm or feature week on this firearm several weeks ago. So if you want to know more about this gun, how to take it apart, what it's like shooting it, literally first person style, that's what my channel's about. So we've got all that content just a few weeks back. And along the way, you'll probably also see the B&T APC308. This is their full-length rifle, but again, it's literally identical in almost every single way to the APC223. This is just that in a smaller package. So if you've already seen my APC308 assembly video, because I did the same thing and it was a bit longer form, this will be the quicker version because I'm just gonna kind of get to the point and we're gonna go through this thing, but otherwise it's essentially the same. So that's my intro. Let's get into this thing. So first off, we will drop our Surefire 60 rounder, prove the gun clear, and I'll pop off this optic as well. These, just while I'm at it, these Kinetic Development Group little quick lock system, side lock, so handy, so handy. Anyways, that aside, just gonna grab, sometimes this rear pin is the first thing you're gonna pop out, and they can be a bit stiff. The guns do fit remarkably snugly together, really nice. I would rather they fit snug. And then you're gonna hinge your lower down. Now, if you're in Canada, that's as much as you can do with the lower. Unfortunately, to get these guns approved for civilian ownership in Canada, we need to have a pinned on permanently from the factory lower. You cannot drive this pin out. So that is what it is. Anywhere else in the world, you should be able to pop that pin off as well and just take your lower off completely. But I mean, it is what it is. So we'll move on. Now this stock over here is not a factory stock. This is a Bushmaster ACR stock, Magpul Masada stock, and it's been adapted to the APC 223 like it has to so many other rifles via this stock adapter made by Dan Haga. If you're interested in more in that, just go check him out, Dan Haga. He's on Instagram. He has a website, I would assume. But more importantly, this buffer system. This is part of the magic behind the Swiss APC line. They've all got this integrated hydraulic buffer, and it's a recoil dampening system. So I'll show you once the gun is back together, but basically once the bolt carrier, almost bottoms out, the last kind of half inch or so, or well, once it contacts this, that last probably 3/4 of an inch of movement is dampened and really smooth. When you're shooting this gun, I posted my shooting video the day before this video, so that's already out if you want to see it. Unbelievable. This is the smoothest shooting SBR that I've encountered. So just felt that was worthwhile mentioning as well. I love it. Now when you get here and you can't pull your charging handle out, don't fret. That's simply because the operating rod and spring is retaining it. This little nub up here rides in this little slot right there, and that captures it. So it's not going to fall out. Well, I mean, it's already retained. It's just another way of retaining it, and a way of locking the position on the folding charging handle. This guy over here, without that functionality, this would be able to rotate and spin around, which would pretty much defeat the purpose. So that's again where that little nub comes in. Again, just a quick look or a closer look at the recoil spring in general. Op rod, it's a pretty standard affair, just the retained spring. And then we're going to pop out our bolt carrier. I'm just going to pause for a second because just like the way that it glides, it's like space age roller bearings. Just once more. Oh, it's unbelievable. So nice. Smoothest operating system I've actually encountered to date. There's some other ones that are really close. The Bushmaster ACR is up there. Same with the 416 by H. Heckler and Koch. There's a lot of good systems out there. The G28 is remarkably smooth, but something about this, they're just the way they machine the tolerances. It's just like, oh, it's so nice. If you never own one of these, definitely just get your hands on one and cycle the action. Just, it's worth it. So at this point, I got stumped and I had to reach out to a buddy. AV12G, I think is his Instagram profile. And he helped me out because I was like, I couldn't figure out, my G36 background, AR-15 background. I'm thinking like there's got to be a firing pin retaining pin that I'm trying to find and pop out, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And lo and behold, if you look really closely, you will notice little divots on either side of that cam pin. And I saw that too, and I started pulling at it, and I couldn't get it out. And the magic is it's locked unless it comes almost all the way back. My recommendation would be to grab onto it under those two little those little grooves, and then just pull it and wiggle it as you're pushing the bolt back, and it will pop out. If you have the bolt all the way back, it can get locked in there as well. So that's what I found, and that's that cam pin. Quite clever. Again, they found a way to eliminate another part. No firing pin retaining pin needed, and then your whole bolt is just gonna come right out. And again, it's a piston gun, so there are no gas rings on this thing. So there's a close look at your bolt. Sorry, my camera isn't focusing super well here. Just a single ejector on the 223 claw extractor. It's very, very identical to a AR-15 or G36 bolt. And believe it or not, the firing pin bears a striking resemblance, and it's actually a pun in there, a striking resemblance to the STG-55, the SIG, or STG-90, the SIG 550 series of rifles. I don't know if I've seen pictures and they look identical side by side. I'm not 100% sure if they are. I will ask the factory, and if I find out, I'll put the answer in the correction section below, as I have one of those in case I make a mistake and someone comments on it, and then I can at least go and correct it after the fact. So, but there's your system, and there is a spring behind this. You can feel there's quite a bit of tension when you push on the back of the firing pin there. And it's a fully sealed unit, so you'd have to drive out the pins to take it all apart. So I'm going to leave it here for now. And that's your bolt. Here's your close-up of your carrier. Very nice piece of construction. Though I have heard reports that this, and I'm starting to see it a little bit here as well. I can feel it. It's rough. This finish around the cam pin breaks up and chips off. I don't know why, but it does do that, and it appears like mine is starting to. So just noting that. The charging handle rides inside here and can be swapped to either side very easily. I am assuming, again, this is a reciprocating action. I'm assuming that B&T is already working on a non-reciprocating action, like they've done for their APC9 Pro, which I'm super fond of. I love that gun. I got a chance to handle it while I was at Wolverine Supplies. I did a field trip over there. They invited me out, and I got to see a bunch of their B&T stuff. They're the distributor for Canada, and they're also the LEO distributor as well. So they've got all the toys, like integrally suppressed, full auto. Oh, I was in heaven when I was in that back room with the wall plastered full of these. I have a video on that as well if you look back in my feed a month and a half or so. It's just a quick overview, but you get to see a lot of guns, including their grenade launcher. And next time I go back, they've assured me they'll have their integrally suppressed rifle as well, which I'm quite excited to get my hands on. But at any rate, let's start putting this thing back together. Once I get to show you the inside here a bit more, I suppose. Just a gorgeous piece of machinery. And I suppose we should probably take the gas system apart while we're here as well. So it's right up here, and it's very reminiscent of an STG 99 gas system. I would just recommend you have a punch to depress the little button right here. There's a little divot right there, and you can turn it when you're going from suppressed to unsuppressed shooting. Mine is a bit carbon caked, it must be, because it feels a bit more snug than normal. Okay, at this point, it should be rotating off. Actually, I haven't removed the gas system on this guy before. I've removed it on my APC308, which must have fewer rounds through it because it was not caked on. Mine must be caked on. So I've now rotated a full 360 and it is not showing signs of wanting to depart. Again, my friend AV12G also made the comment that his gas system was quite snug as well. If you don't pay attention to keeping that clean after firing intervals. If this persists and I can't actually get it off for you guys, because I don't want to waste much more of your time, I will just turn over to my APC308 here and quickly pop out that gas system, because it is 100% the same. It's just, it's slightly larger. Yeah, I've managed to just now seize that up completely. So we're gonna jump over here to our APC308. I will deploy Accutac bipod just to give me a bit of a hand here. Okay, so depress the button. See, that spins way more freely. Pops out. There you can see your regulator, essentially. And then your piston. That looks very much so like the 416 G36. And then your pusher rod, essentially your op rod. So basically what happens is the gas is bled off of the barrel via the gas block. It comes into your regulator here, and then depending on which hole you've selected, there's suppressed and unsuppressed, it'll pass more or less gas through to this surface here. And this is the tip of your piston. This is what's going to get the gas pressure. It's going to cause this to cycle back and impinge on this, or well, it's not, it's just connected. So it's just going to push this straight back. This is going to impinge on the surface of your carrier group. In fact, right there you can see a mark from where it impinges on it, and that impinging force drives the bolt back, cycles the action, and you're ready to go again. So that's the gas system. I'll just pop that back in. Well, I will pop that back in off the screen. So that all these, while I've got this here, these are so cool. That's how these Accutac bipods work. They are slick. Okay, so back to this, and at this point now my gas block really is in the proper position. It should be popping out. In fact, I can feel it wants to. It's got some spring tension in there. Yeah, that should be coming out. That should be coming out. Oh, it's getting closer, man. It's tight. Holy cow, it's tight. I can see the carbon buildup on it. You never want to force something, you just want to gingerly tap it. And the only reason I'm doing this is I feel like it's probably a semi-useful exercise for someone that's in the same predicament. Otherwise, I would just have cut this out, but I think we're almost there. Oh, it's almost letting go. Every time I get it a little bit further. Man. Short stroke piston systems, am I right? Oh. Golly. Okay, I'm definitely gonna cut some of this out here. Unless this is it. Oh, there we go. Ho, ho, ho. Look at that. So if you bared with me through that. My gosh. We've got it though. Okay, so it came out. Labor of love, let me tell you. Same thing, 100% the same, just everything is smaller. So there you have it. I'm gonna leave this out because I'm gonna clean this off. Otherwise, I'm just asking for the same problem again next time. Otherwise, reassembly is a breeze. Just start with your bolt. The cam pin will only fit in the way it's supposed to go. Will not fit in the other side. Actually, I lied, it will. But it will not go all the way. It is definitely wider in one side, and it drops in fully into one side. The other trick to putting a bolt back in a semi-automatic gun is, well, typically look for the extractor. It's going to extract out of the side with the ejection port. Line your extractor claw up with that side, and that's also how you're going to know. That's the kind of the trick for some of the ARs that don't have it, that you can theoretically install backwards. And that's it. Your bolt's in to the carrier, cam pin's in, just slide it into the back of the receiver until that little hole is appearing in that little cutout. Put your charging handle back in, your recoil assembly back in there, your stock, and you, good sir and madam, are good to go. Oh, I did tell you I was going to cycle the action for you guys so you could see the way this works here. So we're coming back, right? Coming back. You feel a bit of a pause when you're crossing over the hammer, when you're depressing the hammer to reset the trigger. Get to here. You feel a bit of a wall. Now keep pulling, and you actuate that buffer. And the net effect when you're doing this is it's really smooth. It really helps so that this doesn't slam against the rear of the receiver and, you know, impart that energy into your shoulder. It just really delays it, smooths it out. And the energy isn't lost, it's just delayed and slowed down. That's another reason why the Lynx, the GM6 Lynx, the 50 cal that I have the shooting video of now, it's why that is so shootable. I mean, you're not really losing the recoil. The brake is going to mitigate some of the effects of that, but that still the action is coming back in your shoulder. It's just that it's slowed down and compressed, slowed down and spread out over a longer period of time. It just makes the recoil feel like nothing. So it's very cool, very cool. Anyways, that's the gun, and this was just a prop for looks. And then of course we have our bonus gun. So I'm doing a bit of a theme. I got one of these SEMA range bags from Save Your Equipment. They got these handy little pouch for handguns. And I don't know what okay, I know what handgun this is now, because this one just barely did not fit. Okay, I've done 3 of them. It holds 3. So I did one in my intro video, doing one now, and I'll do the last one at the end of my overview video. Opens up, and handgun. So just a super slick, man, I love this thing. The Smith & Wesson Performance Center TRR8. These are just snap caps, not actually live ammunition. Oh, this thing is such a great shooter. Rail here, rail here. Now you got this side lock. Toss that right on there, and you can shoot this thing as if, you know, revolver with a red dot. Actually, I have a video out with a revolver with a red dot as well. It wasn't this aim point, it was a Minox RV1, a nice little budget version or alternative to the aim point. But just fantastic revolver. I love this thing. I have one revolver in my collection right now, and it's this one. And I'd be hard pressed to swap it out. So that's the show, guys. Thank you a ton. Please check me out on Instagram as well. I post there daily. Speaking of which, I still got to do my post tonight, so I better get cracking. But thanks again. That's it. Arm&Gun out.